Hello, everybody. Welcome to week 7 of Adapted Floor Hockey Games of the Week. This might be the last one we do, but not quite sure yet. This week it is just me. Reese has a math test at early o'clock in the morning. I think he said 8, so yeah, we're just gonna do this solo and hope it goes well. With that, starting off Monday, non-games of the week. Let me get my mouse out of here. Starting off, PI, we got Maple Grove at Robbinsdale. Now, we're not 100% sure if this game will even happen. Robbinsdale, as of late, has been postponing games and forfeiting games because of lack of players. They did have one game that did go through against South Suburban. But other than that, I'm pretty sure all their games were forfeits. Or rescheduled or something or other. So hopefully they have enough players. But the thing is, even if they do, Maple Grove will probably end up coming out on top. And now that I saw the recap for the Maple Grove tournament by Maple Grove, wow, Lincoln, what a tournament. Holy crap. What a tournament. I'm pretty sure he got 14 goals in that tournament. 6 in the first game, 6 in the second game, and 2 in the third. And that brings him up to a grand total of 30 goals on the season, I believe, which is, from what I know, leading the league by a country mile. Because I only have partial Dakota Hawk stats, full Brainerd stats, and now full Maple Grove stats. The only one relatively close is Aiden Olsen at 18. So, yeah, if you took away all 5 of his assists, he would still be tied for the league lead in points. So, wow, what a season that kid is having. And I believe Lincoln's a sophomore, too, so what a season. Can he keep it up? Probably. Moving on, we've got South Suburban at Brainerd. Now, these two teams have played before. They played in the not the Brainerd tournament, good God. No, the Maple Grove tournament. I should have already had the website up, but I didn't because I didn't think that far ahead. Let's see here. Schedule and results, adapted floor hockey, scores and standings, PI, adapted varsity, Brainerd, and South Suburban. Where's South Suburban? Yep. So they won 11-0 in their first game. Brainerd won 11-0 against South Suburban. Sorry, I'm also a bit tired. I'm recording at around 11:20. So just bear with me here. Yeah, and it's up in Brainerd. That's a tough place to play. I don't see anything going differently. I'm going to say 10-0. Simple as that. Moving on, CI Southeast, we got Dakota United Hawks at Owatonna Huskies. And, yeah, I mean, their last game at Hope Fieldhouse, it was just barely a game. It was one of those games that are a lot of goals to not as many goals. Let me see if I can get the exact score up here. Where is it? It says 15-0. I'm pretty sure it was like 17-0 actually. But website says 15, so we're gonna go with 15-0. And yeah, I mean, it's Hawks at Huskies. And again, in their last game, it was barely a game. I don't see it going any differently just because it's down in Owatonna this time. I think the Hawks are going to cruise to another victory. Moving on to the CI Southwest, we got Minnetonka Wayzata Lakers at New Prague Trojans. And, oh, God. Yeah, this is a 1 versus 20 matchup in our power rankings. And this is not going to be a game. This is... Unfortunately, just, it won't be competitive. I'll be surprised if New Prague doesn't drop 10. Um, let's see, what was their previous score? New Prague. So shows 13-1. So Tonka did get a goal on New Prague last time, but I would assume that was on like reserves, backups. So yeah, I'm gonna assume New Prague's just gonna cruise to another victory. Moving on, we've got Robbinsdale, Hopkins, Mountain West Tonka, Robbins taking on the Chaska, Chanhassen, Shakopee, Prior Lake, Southern Stars. And again, I mean, yeah, these two teams have played. I'm pretty sure. Oh my god, sorry, I am yawning a lot, huh? Sorry about that. Anyway, their first score is not in, but if I remember correctly, it was like 19-0 or something like that. Thanks to the Robbinsdale Facebook page. So yeah, with that in mind, it's going to be like that again. It's at Chanhassen or Shakopee, I think, is where they play their games for floor hockey. It's going to be mostly the same. Moving on to the 3 games of the week on Monday. First up, we've got the STMA Buffalo Monticello Coyotes taking on St. Cloud Crush. Now, in their first game, there was some things that did not go well for the Coyotes that were out of their control. But at the same time, they still lost 11-5. So, like, I mean, now that they're at St. Cloud, hopefully there's new people involved in the game, if you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Because from what I heard, they just weren't. They were subpar, right? And I'm not talking about how the Yotes played the Crush the first time. No, I'm talking about a certain factor of the game that I don't want to dog on. I don't want to insult because I know they do their best. They really do. But let's be honest, sometimes it's just like I'm just gonna come out and say it. Referees, hardest job there is. All right. The reffing was not good in their first game, and hopefully, better referees are here this time. From what I heard, one of the referees in the first game was straight up a para of St. Cloud, so hopefully that doesn't happen again. But now that it's at St. Cloud Apollo, and that's a big gym, that's a big school, we'll see what the Coyotes can do. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to take the Crush. I'm going to say, I do think they will keep it close. I'm going to say 8-5 in favor of the Crush, and I did get Reese's predictions here. Let me pull it up here. Yeah, he said 9-6 in favor of the Crush, so yeah. Moving on. South Washington Thunderbolts at Mankato Knights. Now this is a pretty good game right here. Thunderbolts coming into this one, they are really good team, obviously. We've got them ranked second on our power rankings. They are 7-1, while the Mankato Knights, they are 6-1. But here's the thing: if we look at common opponents, we only have the Dakota Hawks to go off of. This is a non-conference game, which is probably good for the Knights. But either way, we only have one game to go off of, and both teams went to Hope Fieldhouse earlier in the season. Well, South Washington earlier in the season, Mankato just went to Hope. I watched both of those games, and from what I saw, I do think I have to give the slight edge to South Washington. However, what they like to call the Frank. Oh my god, I love the nickname of the place too. The Frank, that's a tough place to play. Just from what I've seen from streams and all that good stuff, that's a tough place to play. From what I've heard, very tough. I've never played there myself. I played in the PI division, so I never played there. But just from what I have heard, that is a very difficult place to play, which I do think will make it closer. Let's see. Reese said 11-8 in favor of the Thunderbolts. I think it's going to be closer than that. I do unfortunately think that the Thunderbolts... Well, I do think the Thunderbolts will come out on top. But I think it'll be closer than 11-8. I have more faith in Taylor Tolkheim. I still don't know how to say his name, but I have more faith in the Kato goalie than Reese has here. So I'm going to say 7-6. You know what? Let's go even further. In overtime. Now, South Washington has two really good offensive players. Like, really good. And you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, I still have faith in Tolkenheim, however you say his name. I still have faith in the Kato goalie. I have faith in the South Washington goalie as well. However, both teams... Kato has offense from their defense. And South Washington has two players that are really good offensively. Logan Curtis and Jordan Nade are just really, really good. But at the same time, from what I saw from Kato, their defense can generate a lot of offense if their shots aren't blocked. And I don't think South Washington's defense is as good as Dakota's defense. At the same time, I think South Washington's offense is better than Dakota's offense. So, with that in mind, I'm going to change my prediction to 9-8 in favor of the Thunderbolts in overtime. I'm still going with the overtime prediction. I think there's going to be a lot of offense, but I think defense is going to be key here. I think goaltending is going to be key. I think defense is going to be key, but at the same time, I think there's going to be a lot of offense. And for Kato players, so what Logan Curtis likes to do, they've got a big man on the wing, right? Big guy. He likes to basically run in circles around until he's open and then fire a shot into the top corner. Just a little heads up. And I already said for Kato, I mean, they like to generate offense from defense. I believe his name is Jack, I think, is who I'm thinking of. He has a really good shot. So for South Washington, watch out for him. For Kato, watch out for Logan Curtis. I forget what number both players wear, but I think you'll understand who they are once we get to game time. With that out of the way, let's move on to the Lakeville, Burnsville, Farmington Blazing Cats taking on the South Suburban Jets. It's at Bloomington Jefferson. The last game went in favor of the Jets in Lakeville. And what a game, too. 9-7 win for the Jets. Now, Reese said that he thinks they'll split the series. He says Lakeville, Burnsville, Farmington by a score of 8-7. And I'm actually going to back him up on that. And my reasoning is the Jets have not looked great as of late. They looked amazing earlier in the season. But lately, they haven't been all there. Like, I mean, they beat South Washington early on in the season, and then just a week or two ago, they lost to South Washington 10-0. So, with that in mind, I'm going to say Lakeville Burnsville Farmington takes it by the same score, 9-7. I'm saying 9-7. Reset 8-7. I'm saying 9-7. He did not say whether or not overtime, but I assume just regulation. Yeah, I do think this will be a high-scoring game. I think it's going to be very close, but just from what I saw in the scores just a week or two ago, I think Lakeville takes it, and I've been very, very surprised with how good their goalie was when I watched Hockey Day Minnesota game. So yeah, that's really all I've got for this one. Moving on, flipping it on over to Tuesday. Starting off PI, we've got the Brainerd Warriors at St. Paul Humboldt. Now, earlier we had the 1 versus 20. This is the same thing, only in the PI division, and it is 1 versus, 8, only because Robbinsdale barely has enough players. So, Brainerd Warriors at St. Paul Humboldt. This is very possibly a state tournament. Watch for this game in the state tournament. This could be a quarterfinal game. I think Brainerd's just going to take it, though. I don't see Brainerd losing a game for the rest of the regular season at the very least. So, with that in mind, I'm not going to make a prediction. I'm just going to say Brainerd wins. Simple as that. Brainerd's just too good. Moving on, we've got Minneapolis at South Suburban. This could be a very, very interesting game, but I mean, it's at Bloomington Kennedy. Minneapolis just isn't as good as they were in soccer. South Suburban is as good as they were in soccer. And they got third in soccer. So, with that in mind, I'm going to say South Suburban pulls off a win against Minneapolis here. As for score, I don't know. I really liked how J.J. Morgan played. I didn't get to see Mary McIntyre play, but I assume she's around the same as when I played, so I'm going to say South Suburban wins by a score of 9-4. Moving on to the CI Northeast, we've got the White Bear Lake Bears taking on the Moundsview Arndale Roseville Rams in Moundsview. Technically Arden Hills, but we'll go with Moundsview. I mean, yeah, in their last game, White Bear Lake held their own. It was a 12-8 game. White Bear Lake really held their own. So, with that in mind, it's at Moundsview. I am suspect of the Moundsview defense, but I have faith in the goalie and I have faith in the offense to score on White Bear Lake. So I'm going to say I don't think this ends running time. I really don't. I don't think this ends running time because I think White Bear Lake will score more than expected again. So I'm going to say 10-5, which means that there will be no running time at the end of the game. 11-6. We'll go 11-6. Moving on to the CI Northwest, we've got STMA Buffalo Monticello Coyotes taking on Anoka Hennepin Mustangs at Anoka. Now, the Coyotes, if they win this game, they will clinch a playoff spot and eliminate in Anoka Hennepin. If my understanding for the playoffs are correct. And, I mean, their last game was 12-0. I don't see it going much differently. It's at Anoka. Floor's a bit different, bit weird for hockey, but it still works the same. So, with that in mind, I think the Coyotes are going to take it. I'm going to say 9-0. Yeah, we'll go 9-0. And, yeah, I mean, I think they will eliminate the Mustangs from the playoff race. And, yeah, but I do think the Mustangs will play with heart. I think they will absolutely try their hardest. Play at 110%, but I just don't think that's enough to beat the Coyotes at this stage. Moving on to the non-conference games, we've got, this is going to be a very interesting game here. Stillwater Matamidi taking on Moorhead, up in Moorhead. Now, that is a long drive. That's a pretty long drive there. Stillwater Matamidi, they're undefeated. I think they're 9-0 overall. Moorhead is more in the middle. I think they're 4-3. And yeah, this is going to be a very interesting game. Again, because it's a long drive, but at the same time, I think Noah Kent beats out Aiden Lucian in that. Plus, I think the Stillwater goalie is better. I do like the butterfly style the Moorhead goalie plays, but I just don't think it's going to work against the Stillwater goalie. So with that in mind, I do think the Ponies will win. I am going to say 8-3. 8-2. 8-2. 8-2. 8-3. No, I'm going with my original. 8-3. Moving on to the games of the week, we've got PI Division, Dakota United Hawks taking on the Rochester Raiders. Now, this is a game of the week because, one, Dakota United historically has not done as well in Rochester as they have hoped. Number two, Rochester's coming off of a huge win against South Suburban, 9-3. Dakota United is 1-1 against South Suburban. They convincingly beat them in South Suburban, but they were down a player. South Suburban was down a player. At the same time, they lost when I believe South Suburban was at full strength in a 1-goal game. So, with that in mind, with the common opponents in mind, we're not going to talk about Brainerd. We're not going to talk about Maple Grove because those two are in their own league. But Rochester, Dakota United down in Rochester. I'm gonna have to take the Raiders. I'm sorry to my old team, but I'm gonna have to take the Raiders, and I'm gonna say. What did Reese say? Reese said 6-4 in favor of Rochester, with Jay getting 2 goals. I'm going to say Rochester's gonna win 9-5. I think Jay's gonna get a hat trick, tie the Eastview record. But I think Rochester's just on a hot streak right now. And I don't see it changing anytime soon. With that, let's move on to the North-Tartan Polars taking on the Centennial Spring Lake Park, whatever they are. I think they're the Cougars. They might be the Cats. I have no clue. Either way, North-Tartan, Centennial. This is a rivalry game. This is going to be a good game. Their last game, Centennial won by a score of 9-6. This game has playoff implications. The winner of this game will likely get the 3rd seed in the Northeast, which means a home playoff game, likely against STMA Buffalo Monticello. So, with that in mind, I think North Tartan's going to play their heart out, but I do not see them beating Centennial at home. I'm going to say 10-7. Reese said 7-5 in favor of Centennial. I'm going to say 10-7 in favor of Centennial. I haven't seen either of these two teams play. North Tartan was a lot better in soccer than they are in floor hockey. But, yeah, I mean, I think Centennial's just going to take this one here. And, yeah, I'm actually cruising through this, but that's fine. I want to get this done sooner rather than later. Not because I don't like it, but because it's late and I gotta get this done. So, yeah, plus shorter videos are probably better. So, yeah, either way, I do think Centennial wins this one, but we'll see how close it is. I'm saying 10-7. With that, let's move on to St. Cloud taking on Maple Grove Osseo-Park. Now, these two teams just played in St. Cloud, 10-5 in favor of Maple Grove. And this Maple Grove offense is really good. This is a really good offense, backed by a pretty good defense. Probably with some pretty good goaltending, too. With that in mind, I think St. Cloud has a couple of really good players, really aggressive players, and, yeah, sometimes probably overly aggressive. Yeah, in a fair game, I'm gonna say Maple Grove takes this one by a score of. We'll go 11-6. 12-8, actually. I'm going to go 12-8. Reese said 11-7 in favor of Maple Grove. Gas station score 7-11. I love making that joke. There's a few jokes on scores that I like to make, and 7-11 is one of them. With that, let's move on to the Wednesday games, which only feature PI division. Starting off, Dakota United Hawks at Anoka Hennepin Mustangs. This could be a very interesting game. Anoka Hennepin, still a wild card. Very much a wild card. Dakota United, J-B-M on the verge of the Eastview record. Sammy Jordheim, we all know she really likes to slash people's legs. No, she likes to knock the puck out from under the people and other players, and she's pretty good at it. Steph Noor is new. She's been pretty good. Chloe always plays her heart out. I feel like I'm missing somebody. Dylan's pretty good. Bennett's having a career season in net. Sean has been okay. It's his first season as goalie, so it's difficult to get into the groove, but I think he'll be just fine. And Anoka's a wild card team. Now, I'm gonna be biased. I do think that, well, I'm not being biased, but like they're my old team, so I'm a little bit biased. I'm gonna say Dakota United Hawks pulls this one off, but I think it's gonna be close. I'm going to say 9-5. 9-5. A work day. 9-5. Simple as that. And I do think Jay breaks the Eastview record. Even if he got no goals in the Rochester game, which I said he would get 2. But I think he gets 4 in this one. Which, if my predictions end up being correct, he would end up at, let's see, 103 plus 6, that's 109, which is my exact total. So he's not going to get another goal for the rest of the season once he hits 109 because we are going to be tight. No. J-B-M, just do your thing. He'll pass me, and I've accepted that. I'll be 4th, and I'll have to give up my podium spot to Jay. Dang it. No. We like playing around. Moving on, we've got St. Paul Humboldt at Maple Grove. Now, this is a very tough week for St. Paul Humboldt. First, they got to play Brainerd, and then back-to-back, they got to play Maple Grove. The top 2 teams in the division. That's just mean. I don't think much more has to be said. St. Paul Humboldt at Maple Grove. Lincoln CRC's having a career season. He's going to break my single season goal record. He's going to, because I got 37 in my sophomore year. This kid's already got 30, and he's got like 5 games to go. I think he's got like 3 games to go, and then 3 games to go in state, so 6 games to go. Which is insane, by the way, because again, my single season most was 37, and I thought I did really good. This kid's going to have like 45 goals at the least. Lincoln's having a very good season. With that out of the way, let's move on to our final day of the week, Thursday. Starting off, PI Division, we've got Robbinsdale Hopkins, Mount Westonka Robins taking on the Rochester Raiders down in Rochester. And again, the Robins just... they barely have enough players. If one person's out, I think they forfeit. So, with that in mind, I think Rochester just takes it. If they play, I'm going to say 9-1. I think Hector's going to get 1 if Hector's even playing. But I still think Hector and Abby are a very good duo for the Robins. I really do. On the Rochester side of the things, you got Leah and Cooper, who, again, very good duo. Michael Brown in net. I don't know who the Robins goalie is. I assume it's Sean Majeski, but he was their goalie for soccer. I'm not sure if he's their goalie for floor hockey as well. But either way, I think Rochester's going to take this one. I'm going 9-1. And yeah, let's just move on to our game of the week. We've got the Moorhead Spuds taking on the STMA Buffalo Monticello Coyotes. Now, these two teams have played. Up in Moorhead, a 7-6 win for the Spuds in overtime. That's a very good game. That's a very close game. But now they've got to play at the STMA Middle School, or Middle School East, I believe it is, and that is going to be a good freaking game. That's going to be a very good game. Reese said 9-8 in favor of STMA. I think it's going to be slightly lower scoring. I do think Aiden Lucian's going to put up at least 5. At the same time, I think Jacob Sentko, Matthew Sentko, and what's his name? I'm so sorry. Brody Hochstetler. I think those 3 are going to combine for at least 6. So, with that in mind, I'm going to say the same score, 7-6, but this time I think the Coyotes come out on top in overtime. I'm going to say it again, overtime, yep. I think this one's going to overtime as well, but this time in favor of the Yotes. What this means for playoffs, I have no idea. I don't know which team. I think it'll go to a coin flip or non-conference games, which the Yotes do have a non-conference game. They do have the advantage in non-conference. Unless if Moorhead beats Stillwater. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see what this means for playoffs. STMA might host a playoff game. Moorhead might host a playoff game. Whoever gets the 3rd seed will host a playoff game. Not against each other. But either way, I think both teams will end up winning their playoff games against their northeastern opponents, Centennial Spring Lake Park and North-Tartan, respectively. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So with that, if you need to contact me, you can at everythingminnesotaadapted@gmail.com, or on Twitter, or on X, formerly known as Twitter. You can contact me at allmnadapted. I also take Facebook messages on Facebook Messenger at my Everything Minnesota Adapted account. If you need to contact Reese, who wasn't here today, you can contact his Instagram at Northstar Adaptive. He does a great job over there. Go and follow him if you have Instagram. With that, thank you all so much for watching. I know I kept it short. I mean, 33 minutes has got to be a new record for Games of the Week. But that's what happens when I don't have Reese to talk to and we go on tangents all the time. So, yeah, thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, leave a like, leave a comment, leave a subscribe. Click the bells for notifications when we go either live, because I sometimes stream the live stream games, stream my reaction, or when we post a new video. So, yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and we will see you next time. And I always have to do the Markiplier outro. Bye-bye!